Hi, how's it going, everyone? Today I am crafting with TLC Designs Celebrate Suite. Now, if you're not familiar, I did an unboxing earlier where I showed everything that you'll be getting in the suite. I'll link to that in the upper right hand corner in case you missed it. But today I am crafting with the Celebrate frame die, which I bought separately. So this doesn't come in the suite, but you will get a 20% off coupon to get this die set if you are interested in it. Now, the frame is spectacular because it does die cut out a lot of these details along that border, but because I want to make a shaker, I need a place to actually put my foam. So what I've done is I've backed the frame with just plain old white cardstock. I'm taking the inner aperture die, which is separate, and I'm going to line that up with my window so that I can cut out that white portion and then back this frame with some acetate. Now, before you do this step of putting your acetate behind here, just hold on a second, and I'll tell you why when we get to that point, but it's actually a little bit more helpful if you don't do what I'm doing right at this moment, but rather wait a beat, and then when you go to put this onto your card base, it'll be a lot easier. The reason is because what I've done is I've used that same inner aperture die to cut out another panel, which is what I'll use to put behind this aperture. But in terms of being able to kind of center it and place it onto my card base, it'll be a lot easier to do that. Here's my card base. So it'll be a lot easier to do that if you go ahead and trace along that aperture directly onto your card base. That way, when you, if you've done what I've done, if you use that same aperture die to cut out your panel that will be seen behind this window, it'll be a lot easier to line that up. And it doesn't really matter too much if you are just going to stamp directly onto your card base, or you're not going to be as conservative as I am with your paper and you cut a larger piece of paper to put behind this aperture window. So, as with any shaker, when you place your foam, you want to make sure that you close off the aperture window completely so that your shaker bits have nowhere to escape. They're going to stay trapped within the walls of the foam that you lay down. So just make sure that you have completely surrounded this aperture opening here with foam. And that way, when you pour in your bits, there's no way they can get loose. So here I'm deciding which piece of solid color cardstock, which does come in the Celebrate Suite bundle, and I guess I could have just trimmed off a portion, but I really love that this inner aperture die does have that border detail. So that's why I wanted to use it, because it's got that lovely detail all the way around the edges. But as I mentioned, it would have been easier to just trace that aperture from my frame so that I know where to place this on my card base. So one of these stamp sets, or the stamp set that comes in the Celebrate bundle, is this one here, and it's all sentiments. There are some of these small graphics, which I always, whenever I see small designs like this, I always think to stamp out my own background. But the rest of the card is already very colorful, so I don't want to actually add any color, and whenever that's the case, I always think to use my Versamark ink, because essentially what this will do is whatever color cardstock you are stamping onto, it just darkens the color a little bit. So it makes it kind of function like a watermark, or it just looks like the paper is wet, essentially. That's the look that it gives you. Of course, this will, when you initially stamp it, it will be a little sticky. So if you're in a rush and you don't want to wait, you could always just pour some clear embossing powder over it and heat emboss. That gives it a nice glossy shine and might actually darken the color a little bit more. Or you can do what I've done, which is to just set it aside and let it dry on its own. So now I'm going to fill my shaker with this incredible mix here. So these sprinkles also do come in the Celebrate Sweet bundle, and it's a really nice assortment. So you've got some sequins, you've got some clay pieces, you even have some pearls, halfback pearls. There are some flowers as well, so it's a really, really nice mix. Keep in mind that some pieces are going to be a little bit more dimensional than others. In particular, the halfback pearls are pretty dimensional, the flowers are pretty dimensional, so I've pulled out some of those bits, especially since I did only put one layer of foam. So these bits will not, some of them are actually going to get rather, kind of feel like they stay suspended in my shaker window, which I like because I didn't overfill my window. It's a pretty large window, and when you have a more sort of tight fit like that, some of your bits are going to move around. The more thin bits will move around more freely, and then the more dimensional or thicker bits will actually kind of almost stay stuck. And I kind of like that because then all of the bits don't automatically fall to the bottom, and so you always see like a little bit at the top, which I really like, especially since part of my aperture here will get hidden by this really yummy looking cupcake, which is from the ephemera pack that comes in the kit. I've just gone ahead and fussy cut it because they aren't pre-cut for you, but they are large enough to easily fussy cut around. So here's a good close-up look at all of the fun sprinkles that come in this kit, and so you can see as I kind of tilt this, some of those bits moved really easily, and then some just kind of stayed stuck wherever they were when I closed down my shaker with that second piece of acetate. I hope that you enjoyed this card today. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing that notification bell. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.